Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Tensei Shitara Slime Datta episode 13, and I'll start this off saying this is my favorite episode for sure so far. I liked ones in the past, but this one's definitely my favorite. I can't think of any of the others that are even particularly memorable as one episode to be close to this. Because like I've said with this story, rather than each episode kind of having its own thing, it definitely flows from episode to episode without any kind of stopping. The story just generally goes... It's very, very difficult to describe, because even with stories that continue on and they're not really episodic, every episode will be like, okay, it covers this part of the story it's telling, okay, it covers this part. But with this show, it's not even like that. It's like they're just telling one continuous story, not even breaking it up part by part, episode to episode. The way they break it up is just like, okay, whenever we get to the end of this episode, we'll go to the next one. But I actually have come to really like that and love the pacing. And this was really good. We've spent the whole first cour with this really slow build-up that, again, it's something that I wasn't sure about at first, but I came to love, where it's paced very slowly, but it lets us get to know all the characters. We spend a lot of time talking about what's going on, and that's all led up to this episode being really fast-paced and getting a bunch of the action done all at once, hitting us with a bunch of it, and it was really, really good. It didn't feel rushed. It just felt like there was a lot going on, and all of it was really, really good. Because there's a bunch of things that happened, and yet each of the little things that happened were really, really satisfying, like with each of the different characters fighting. But either way, let's talk about it part by part. We start off with Rimuru going to sign that treaty. He has the Kijin with him, except for Korabe and Shuna, who aren't really the fighters. But he has the Oni with him, and Ranga and the Goblin Riders. Soooo then finds the guard, the one that's Gabiru's sister. We see her fighting a high-ranking orc. And just as I was writing in my notes, how did she escape? We didn't see any of that. She explains it, so I was like, oh, never mind. She says that like her father helped her escape when they were being transported or whatever. But I thought that Shion was hilarious, because she just instantly accepts her. She's like, oh, you respect Lord Rimuru? Okay, you're in. Just completely, quickly accepts her. So an alliance is forged with her being the person speaking for the lizard men. Then we go and see Gabiru's army where we left off, where they're dealing with the starved army. They're picking off and defeating a lot of the orcs, but the orcs are just eating their own and getting stronger. In the animation was really, really good, because I mentioned it before, where people had mentioned it to me before, where some of the orc animation is 3D and it's inserted, or it's CG rather, and it's inserted. It looks really, really good. It doesn't feel out of place at all. I really like the way the show looks. It has a really nice art style, and so they start assimilating and evolving scales and webbed feet from the lizard men that they're eating as well. So they're evolving, completely changing physically, in addition to just getting stronger. And so again, I love the concept of the starved army. It's really, really creative. But then the army stops, and there's this big bad orc with a bunch of aura going on that Gabiru assumes is the Orc Lord, but is actually just an Orc General, which is apparently a lot weaker than the Orc Lord. The terms mean whatever they mean in that world. But then we cut away from all of that to see Gelmud and Laplace being confronted by Trainee. And of course Gelmud kind of exposits his plan a bit, saying that he needs to take control of the Forest of Jura. No clue why yet, but we know the general goal. We could kind of tell the goal before, but now we know for certain. So Laplace loses an arm before they escape. They didn't seem very worried, or at least he didn't seem very worried about losing that arm, so I wonder if they can just grow it back or something. But yeah, just loses an arm. Trainee's pretty powerful, and they escape for now, but it's obvious that Gelmud's going to be coming back. It still doesn't explain either, though, why Gelmud was going around to other places naming a leader other than the orc leader. Maybe they were just looking for the right one. Maybe they named Gabiru, they were like not strong enough. Named Rieger, they're like not strong enough. Offered to name the Onis, or ogres at the time, but they wouldn't play ball. And so then they finally name an orc. It becomes an orc lord, and they're like, okay, I found my subject that can take over the forest. That might be a way to explain it. So, yeah, going from them, we see Gabiru versus the general in a 1v1 fight, and it was so good. The animation was incredible. I wasn't expecting it at all for this, and it was just incredible. I had to go back and rewatch that scene a few times. It was so good. Gobta and Ranga come in for the save. Benimaru is just burning the army away. Ranga uses Death Storm, which is entirely OP as well. And we see all the other characters doing their fighting too. And it's just all so good. It's really well animated, and I liked that it was so satisfying seeing each of the characters and what they were doing, and yet going back, it seemed like we really got to see a lot about what they were doing, but the scenes with them were like less than 2 minutes each. So the pacing was done really well, where it felt totally satisfying, but it didn't feel rushed at all, even though it was really quickly paced. Then soooo saves the lizard men and their chieftain in the caverns. I love the lizard men's reaction faces, like the one lady lizard woman reaction face when they first show up there, and then again the chieftain and all the other ones behind him reacting when he captures the one orc. It was all so good. Or it might have been when he killed him, not when he captured him. But either way, it was so good. I love the background lizardmen. They've been so funny the entire time. We got the Gabiru chants again this episode, which every time I love the Gabiru chants. So all of that was really good. Gelmud then toward the end is really worried about being killed for his failure here, because he didn't know all this was going on in the Forest of Jura, which looks really bad on him, and we already know that he's working for a demon lord. So yeah, this is not good on Gelmud, not good for his job prospects and life prospects. So he's really worried about that and goes running off. Rimuru finds the Orc Lord at the very end. So it seems like Rimuru is going to fight the Orc Lord next, and then maybe Gelmud will try to save the Orc Lord or help him, or maybe he'll just show up after the Orc Lord's been defeated, and he'll have to try to take down Rimuru himself and likely fail. So we have all that. Yeah, and that's the end. So some thoughts as a whole. I thought it was an incredible episode. It was my favorite one so far by a long shot, because there was so much action and so much content all the time. It didn't feel like there was a wasted second in the entire episode. Everything was so satisfying to watch. And there were a lot of really funny moments too. Shion is a really good comedy character. I've actually found a lot of comedy in a lot of the things with Benimaru's character. Because he's so serious, but then he'll have a comedy scene. It's really good when he does. So yeah, there was a lot of good comedy in it. The animation was insane, especially for the fight between the Orc General and Gabiru. That was really cool. I loved that fight. Even again, going back and looking, it was only like 2 minutes, but it was really cool in the moment. So yeah, and also something that works well for this series is that I love the characters a lot. Gabiru's an entertaining character. I love the background lizardmen so much. I really like Ranga. All of the Kijin characters are cool. Rimuru is a cool character. All the characters are kind of three things. They're good for comedic scenes. They each have things that they're good at with comedy. They're all really cool. And in addition to them being cool and them being good for comedy, they also have these relationships that have been built up by the slow pacing so that we care about them. So in all three marks, they're really good characters. And I think a good example of that is probably Gobta, where Gobta is clearly a comedic character, but at the same time, he's got the cool jacket now. He's got a few badass moments that have happened, and it makes him a cool character in addition to a funny character. Plus, now we have all this stuff we've seen in the past with Gobta hanging around Rimuru that makes us care about him as a character. So that's just one example, but all the other characters are like that too. In particular, though, I want to see more of the lizard girl, Gabiru's sister, because I really like her character. So I really want to see more of her. So yeah, I guess that unless they make her character design worse, which I don't see how they could, and I hope they wouldn't, but I want to see more of her. If she gets named or something, it'd be awesome. So yeah, I would give this 10 Death Storms out of 10. It was an exciting and fun episode from the start to the end. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it, nothing I would change with it. It had comedic moments, it had a lot of really good action moments, the production quality was amazing. Like I said, I love the way that even the CGI stuff looks really, really good. And the stuff that wasn't CGI, that fight looked incredible. So yeah, I love it, and I'm excited for if this was how good it looked just for kind of the random scrub fights. I can't wait until we see how Rimuru fighting the Orc Lord or Gelmud, or how like the big fights are going to look. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like if you did like the video, comment on there too. Tell me what you thought of this episode and my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more. Tensei Shitara, Slime Datta again, much more on the channel. Just posted a video probably Sunday where I talked about what I was going to watch and review for next season, so check that out if you haven't, or if you have any suggestions. That would be a good place for them, or here. I read all the comments either way, so I would see them either way if you have any suggestions. Did I just say sub? I think I did. Follow on Twitter if you want, and I'll try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us there about anything, just ask and I'll give you a link. The Discord's open for anyone. So that's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.